Hi guys, I was looking through Epic for a good book to read and I found this one. I've never heard of the Horrid Henry series, but this is a really good book. Horrid Henry Tricks the Tooth Fairy. I'm only going to read the first story to you. You guys can read the rest if you want. Horrid Henry Tricks the Tooth Fairy. It's not fair, shrieked Horrid Henry. He trampled on Dad's new flower bed, squashing the pansies. It's just not fair. Moody Margaret had lost 2 teeth. Sour Susan had lost 3. Clever Claire lost 2 in one day. Rude Ralph had lost 4, 2 top and 2 bottom, and he could spit to the blackboard from his desk. Greedy Graham's teeth were pouring out. Even Weepy William had lost one, and that was ages ago. Every day, someone swaggered into school showing off a big, black, toothy gap and waving 50 cents or even $1 that the Tooth Fairy had brought. Everyone, that is, but Henry. It's not fair, shouted Henry again. He yanked on his teeth, he pulled, he pushed, he tweaked, he tugged. They would not budge. His teeth were super glued to his gums. Why me? Moaned Henry, stomping on the petunias. Why am the only one who hasn't lost a tooth? Horrid Henry sat in his fort and scowled. He was sick and tired of other kids flaunting their ugly, wobbly teeth and disgusting holes in their gums. The next person who so much as mentioned the word tooth had better watch out. Henry! Shouted a squeaky little voice. Where are you? Horrid Henry hid behind the branches. I know you're in the fort, Henry, said Perfect Peter. Go away, said Henry. Look, Henry, said Peter, I've got something wonderful to show you. Henry scowled. What? You have to see it, said Peter. Peter never had anything good to show. His idea of something wonderful was a new stamp or a book about plants or a gold star from his teacher saying how perfect he'd been. Still, Henry crawled out. This better be good, he said, or you're in big trouble. Peter held out his fist and opened it. There was something small and white in Peter's hand. It looked like... No, it couldn't be. Henry stared at Peter. Peter smiled as wide as he could. Henry's jaw dropped. This was impossible. His eyes must be playing tricks on him. Henry blinked, then blinked again. His eyes were not playing tricks. Perfect Peter, his younger brother, had a black gap at the bottom of his mouth where a tooth had been. Henry grabbed Peter. You colored your tooth with a black crayon, you faker. Have not, shrieked Peter. It fell out. See? Peter proudly poked his finger through the hole in his mouth. It was true. Perfect Peter had lost a tooth. Henry felt as if his fist had been slammed into his stomach. Told you, said Peter. He smiled again at Henry. Henry could not bear to look at Peter's gappy teeth a second longer. This was the worst thing that had ever happened to him. I hate you, shrieked Henry. He was a volcano pouring hot molten lava onto the puny human foolish enough to get in his way. Ah, screeched Peter, dropping the tooth. Henry grabbed it. Ow, yelped Peter. Give me back my tooth. Stop being horrid, Henry, shouted Mother. Henry dangled the tooth in front of Peter. Na, 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 jeered Henry. Peter burst into tears. Give me back my tooth, screamed Peter. Mom ran into the garden. Give Peter his tooth this minute, said Mom. No, said Henry. Mom looked fierce. She held out her hand. Give it to me right now. Henry dropped the tooth on the ground. There, said Horrid Henry. That's it, Henry, said Mom. No pudding tonight. Henry was too miserable to care. Peter scooped up his tooth. Look, Mom, said Peter. My big boy, said Mom, giving him a hug. How wonderful. I'm going to use my money from the tooth fairy to buy some stamps for my collection, said Peter. What a good idea, said Mom. Henry stuck out his tongue. Henry's sticking out his tongue at me, said Peter. Stop it, Henry, said Mom. Keep that tooth safe for the tooth fairy. I will, said Peter. He closed his fists tightly around the tooth. Henry sat in his fort. If a tooth wouldn't fall out, he would have to help it. But what to do? He could take a hammer and smash one out, or he could tie a string around a tooth, tie a string around a door handle, and slam the door. Eek! Henry grabbed his jaw. On second thought, perhaps not. Maybe there was a less painful way of losing a tooth. What was it the dentist always said? Eat too many sweets and your teeth will fall out. Horrid Henry sneaked into the kitchen. He looked to the right. He looked to the left. No one was there. From the living room came a screechy, scratchy sound of Peter practicing his cello. Henry dashed to the cupboard where Mom kept the candy jar. Candy Day was Saturday, and today was Thursday. 2 whole days before he got in trouble. Henry stuffed as many sticky candies into his mouth as fast as he could. Chomp, 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 chew, chomp, chew, chomp, chompa, chew, chompa, chew, chompa, 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 chew. Henry's jaw started to slow down. He put the last sticky toffee in his mouth and forced his teeth to move up and down. Henry started to feel sick. His teeth felt even sicker. He wiggled them hopefully. After all that sugar, one was sure to fall out. He could see all the comics he would buy with his dollar already. Henry wiggled his teeth again and again. Nothing moved. Rats, thought Henry. His mouth hurt. His gums hurt. His tummy hurt. What did a boy have to do to get a tooth? Then Henry had a wonderful, spectacular idea. It was so wonderful that he hugged himself. Why should Peter get $1 from the tooth fairy? Henry would get that $1, not him. And how? Simple. He would trick the tooth fairy. The house was quiet. Henry tiptoed into Peter's room. There was Peter, sound asleep, a big smile on his face. Henry sneaked his hand under Peter's pillow and stole the tooth. Thought Henry. He tiptoed out of Peter's room and bumped into Mom. Ah! Shrieked Henry. Ah! Shrieked Mom. You scared me. What are you doing? Said Mom. Nothing, said Henry. I thought I heard a noise in Peter's room and I went to check. Mom looked at Henry. Henry tried to look sweet. Go back to bed, Henry, said Mom. Henry scampered to his room and put the tooth under his pillow. Phew, that was a close call, Henry smiled. Wouldn't that crybaby Peter be furious the next morning when he found no tooth and no money? Henry woke up and felt under his pillow. The tooth was gone. Hooray, thought Henry. Now for the money. Henry searched under the pillow. Henry searched on top of the pillow. He searched under the covers, under Teddy, under the bed, everywhere. There was no money. Henry heard Peter's footsteps pounding down the hall. Mom, Dad, look, said Peter. A whole dollar coin from the Tooth Fairy. Great, said Mom. Wonderful, said Dad. What? Thought Henry. Should I share it with you, Mom? Said Peter. Thank you, darling, Peter, but no thanks, said Mom. It's for you. I'll take it, said Henry. There are a ton of comics I want to buy and some. No, said Peter. It's mine. Get your own tooth. Henry stared at his brother. Peter would have never dared to speak to him like that before. Horrid Henry pretended he was a pirate captain pushing a prisoner off the plank. Ow! Shrieked Peter. Don't be horrid, Henry, said Dad. Henry decided to change the subject fast. Mom, said Henry, how does the Tooth Fairy know who's lost a tooth? She looks under the pillow, said Mom. But how does she know whose pillow to look under? She just does, said Mom. By magic. But how? Said Henry. She sees the gap between your teeth, said Mom. Aha, thought Henry. That's where he'd gone wrong. That night, Henry cut out a small piece of black paper, wet it, and covered his two bottom teeth. He smiled at himself in the mirror. Perfect, thought Henry. He smiled again. Then Henry stuck a pair of Dracula teeth under his pillow. He tied a string around the biggest tooth and tied the string to his finger. When the Tooth Fairy came, the string would pull on his finger and wake him up. All right, Tooth Fairy, thought Henry. You think you're so smart? Find your way out of this one. The next morning was Saturday. Henry woke up and felt under his pillow. The string was still attached to his finger, but the Dracula teeth were gone. In their place was something small and round. My dollar coin, crowed Henry. He grabbed it. The dollar coin was plastic. There must be some mistake, thought Henry. He checked under the pillow again, but all he found was a folded piece of bright blue paper covered in stars. Henry opened it. There, in a tiny gold letters, he read, Nice try, Henry, the Tooth Fairy. Rats, said Henry. From downstairs came the sound of Mom shouting, Henry, get down here this minute. What now? Muttered Henry, heaving his heavy bones out of bed. Yeah, said Henry. Mom held up an empty jar. Well, Henry had forgotten all about the candy. It wasn't me, said Henry automatically. We must have mice. No candy for a month, said Mom. You'll eat apples instead. You can start right now. Ugh, apples. Henry hated all fruits and vegetables, but apples were the worst. Oh, no, said Henry. Oh, yes, said Mom, right now. Henry took the apple and bit off the teeniest, tiniest piece he could. Crunch, crack. Henry choked. Then he swallowed, gasping and sputtering. His mouth felt funny. Henry poked around with his tongue and felt a space. He shoved his fingers in his mouth, then ran to the mirror. His tooth was gone. He'd swallowed it. It's not fair, shrieked Horrid Henry. I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I did, guys. You have a good rest of your day.